1992, Professor Walter Schempp discovered how atoms communicate with each other over any distance through the field. He discovered in the atom, when electrons are in a higher frequency shell or orbit around the proton, the atom emits light waves carrying intelligent information.
What did he just say? Y'all didn't hear that. Y'all over there, y'all bullshitting. You're writing something, you're looking at something else. Y'all ain't heard that. Hold up. Let's go back over what he said.
The light and carrying information.
The heart.
But he said something about the atom. Yeah, what did he say about the atom? All right.
That it can pick up frequencies in any miles away.
Say what?
That it can pick up any other frequency any miles away.
Right. Due to what?
If they're on the same vibration.
Sort of. Let's go back and let it in. I want you guys to get it clearly.
Quantum level attainment. In 1992, Professor Walter Schempp discovered how atoms communicate with each other over any distance through the field. He discovered in the atom, when electrons are in a higher frequency shell or orbit around the proton, the atom emits light waves carrying intelligent information.
Y'all see? Did y'all hear that? I don't think y'all really understand. Let's do it one more time. Let's do it. Hold on. Don't say nothing. We're gonna play this one more time. One more time, then y'all tell me.
Schempp. Quantum level attainment. In 1992, Professor Walter Schempp discovered how atoms communicate with each other over any distance through the field.
Just that right there.
Over any distance, they communicate.
Atoms communicate over any distance in the field.
Through the field. What is the field?
So is the field dark matter?
No, wait, no. The field is not dark matter. The field is
energy. The world.
Dark what? Dark what?
Dark energy.
Dark energy. See, matter is how is what dark energy manifests. However, the field, the underlying field, the energy field of it all that connects us all. What Yoda say? What did Yoda say?
So the force
binds us. The force.
So dark energy is the force?
Yes. And I'll go back and I hope I can quote him properly.
I think he said like the force is all around us, is in everything.
Yeah. Like that. He says, because he was saying about how he couldn't lift the ship out of the ground, and we played this on the very first episode, so you guys can go back and watch it. But he says, judge me by my size, do you? And he says, and as well you should not, for my ally is the force, and a powerful ally it is. Excuse me. It's energy. It surrounds us. It binds us through the tree, through the rock, from the, he said, and between ground and matter, or person and matter. He says, and then he says, luminous beings are we, not this crude matter. So basically, luminous means light beings. You're a light. So they just said, atoms can communicate with other atoms through any distance through the field. And then he's going to get to light.
He discovered in the atom, when electrons are in a higher frequency shell or orbit around the proton, the atom emits light waves carrying intelligent information. Similar to the way when we are talking and communicating, our brain waves go into a higher frequency wave state. He found when the electron jumps to a lower frequency wavelength, the atom receives photons carrying intelligent information, as if they are listening. Just as when we are listening, we go into a lower frequency brainwave state. The timing of when electrons jump shells to higher or lower frequency orbits is completely random and cannot be quantified by any mathematical predictable formula, likened to random human behavior. There are several other behaviors in quantum mechanics that remind physicists of human random consciousness.
So, atoms vibrating extremely high, emitting a light type of energy.
Sending messages.
Emitting photons, vibrating at a lower state, receiving photonic energy, receiving information.
Okay.
Opposed to models demonstrating repeatable and reliable mathematical timing, such as the sun rising every day at the precise consciousness in quantum mechanics that remind physicists of human random consciousness, as opposed to models demonstrating repeatable and reliable mathematical timing, such as the sun rising every day at the precise expected time, and the 9 planets' orbits around it. In the quantum universe, finding precise timing and repetition of events is very difficult in certain functions of the atom and its components. Niels Bohr and Heisenberg presented to Einstein at the 1927 Fifth Solvay Conference on Quantum Mechanics that the minds of the researchers were affecting the angular momentum of the electron spin around the proton. This was because different data came in when different researchers were conducting the experiments. The data was always random and could not be quantified in a repeatable and reliable mathematical formula. As far as the laws of mathematics refer to reality, they are not certain. And as far as
Bam! What did he just say? As far as the laws of mathematics are concerned, with reality, as far as reality, they are not certain. Let's go to that. That's very important.
Mathematical formula. As far as the laws of mathematics refer to reality, they are not certain.
What do they tell you right now? Mathematics don't lie. How many times have you heard that saying?
Right.
Right. Numbers don't lie.
Doesn't lie. They will say that 100 million times. Math doesn't lie. Mathematics don't lie. No, it's mathematics. All about mathematics. Again, I've said this in class before. Does anybody remember what I said mathematics mean? Definition of mathematics?
To understand, to know, something like that.
Something that is learned.
Oh, that was close.
So mathematics can mean anything. Cooking pancakes can be mathematics when you're learning them. is anything learned. So they're wrong on that. Mathematics does not mean the calculation of numbers. So in the essence right there, they're full of shit. But just right here, they just broke down. The scientists told you, as far as mathematics are concerned dealing with reality, it is not certain. Mathematics does not determine reality. they found that out. Like, nigga, we can apply all the math and science and different formulas that we want. That shit ain't working. And something is going on with this damn experiment that we can't calculate. We can't come to it right now. And that was the consciousness part.
Because it's above mathematics.
Right. Well, no, it's not. It's above numbers. It's above the calculation of numbers. But it is mathematics in essence. It is you learning stuff. If you're conscious and you're awake and you're paying attention, it will be something learned. But if you're trying to battle it and challenge it, trying to defeat it, then it won't.
Reliable mathematical formula. As far as the laws of mathematics refer to reality, they are not certain. And as far as they are certain, they do not refer to reality. Albert Einstein. In Richard Feynman's book, The Strange Theory of Light and Matter, he tried to quantify the behavior of the timing of which light particles, photons, emanating from a light source would reflect through several layers of glass and bounce back to detectors. Light particles do 3 things when they strike a glass target. 1, they either travel through the glass sheet, or 2, they react and scatter inside the glass sheet, or 3, they bounce back to give us a picture of the sheet of glass. Feynman shined his light source through several sheets of glass, allowing light particles to choose to bounce off of or react to the surface of various layers of glass. He wanted to see if there was a quantifiable formula for which photons would bounce back and which ones would travel through the glass or penetrate deeper and bounce off another sheet of glass or scatter and react inside of it, or deeper yet, travel through all the sheets of glass. Regardless of the color of light and various other parameters, there was no way to quantify the strange behavior of light and matter. The light particles, photons, always behaved randomly as to what they would choose to do, just as in human consciousness. Could human intention be so powerful that it could tell particles of light, photons, to penetrate through several layers of glass and even solid barriers? PhD psychologist Stanislav Ojak has demonstrated his power of intention over the film plane of a camera.
What is intention in essence?
The purpose in which you're doing something?
The energy of your thought?
Yeah. Yes. Both of you are correct. Can you give me a smaller breakdown?
The vibration of your thoughts. I don't know.
Right. That's it too.
What's the vibration of your thought? The frequency of your thought? Which is pretty much the same thing. Just a different way of saying it.
Whether it's good or bad?
That's the
So
polarity.
is it the energy?
That's a polarity of your intention. What were you saying?
Put in place?
Almost.
I was gonna say the energy
Go ahead.
of the communication through the atom. So if the atoms are communicating, is it the energy and the vibration from that communication?
No. So say I threw a ball. I threw a ball. We're playing ball and going back and forth. I threw a ball. Wait, let me finish. So I threw a ball, and the ball hit somebody in the head. Now, if I meant to do it, or if I meant to do it, what's the difference?
That was your focus and target.
Wait, what? What was that word you just used?
Target.
No, before that.
Focus.
Focus.
Focus. Focused thought is intent. Right? So intent actually means to stretch out. Literally, that's the word. So it's your thought. It means to stretch out your thought. Literally, it's focused intent. Right? Or focused thought. So when they're performing the experiment and they don't have a purpose for it, they're not a main purpose, meaning they're not telling it what to do. They're just trying to see what it does on its own. It has no intent. You're leaving it up to the universe, to chance, to say, oh, whatever, leaving it up to whatever conditions are present at the experiment at the time. That could be anything. That could be your thought. That can be the wind, the air, the heat that's in the room. All these different things that can play a part within the experiment that you leave open to play a part in the experiment. Then they come in with intent. Now listen to this.
Psychologist Stanislav Ojak photons to penetrate through several layers of glass and even solid barriers. PhD that it could tell apart. Could human intention be so powerful that it could tell particles of light, photons, to penetrate through several layers of glass and even solid barriers? PhD psychologist Stanislav Ojak has demonstrated his power of intention over the film plane of a camera. His intention is so powerful, he found he can cause a photograph to appear while the lens cap on the camera is blocking the lens and the film plane from receiving light. He has done this hundreds of times. He has also been able to take pictures with film and cause invisible spiritual phenomena to appear. His film and photographs were analyzed by Kodak Film Laboratories to be authentic and not caused by double exposures or trick photography.
Several abnormalities that began to occur in the photographs. People became transparent or they disappeared, light aberrations, and then entities which appear to be human-like in some form, but not as we would say it was definitely humanoid. And these aberrations went on. So over a period of about 4 years, it's 74 to, it's longer than that. 74 to 1981, accumulated over 5,000 photographs with a 22% anomalous factor in regards to that.
As Stanislav Jack took mystical photographs of the 1972 Seals and Crofts concert, a large luminous face appears overlooking the band on stage with Cher. Then what appeared to be a band of divine beings of light pointing and perhaps even dancing to their music gazed into our world without us ever even knowing it. Could beings of light and even angels have listened to the spiritual music of Seals, Croft, and Cher? Could such beings have even inspired their music to be born?
He took pictures with the lens cap on the camera, so that the radiations that eventually were registered on the film went right through the lens cap. And the lens cap will block electromagnetic radiations. So it definitely was different radiations than electromagnetism. And that's why I've called these things subtle energies. Doesn't mean they're weak. It means they're subtle in the sense that they're very different from the energies associated with the four fundamental forces that we know from orthodox science.
Dr. Claude Swanson's synchronized universe model may help explain how we can see into the invisible dimensions of the universe and explain visions and apparitions, and how we can interact with those dimensions, but more importantly, to prove that they are part of our reality.
I developed what I call the synchronized universe model as a way of trying to expand current physics to account for a lot of these psychic phenomena, paranormal phenomena. Besides the types of things we've been talking about, which involve communication psychically and affecting things at a distance, you also have other abilities that the yogis have demonstrated, that certain adepts in China, the Qigong masters, have demonstrated, things like walking through walls, levitation, teleportation, things that in the West we've laughed at and we call them science fiction. And yet there are people who have demonstrated reliable abilities to produce these effects. So our science needs to be able to account for how this is possible. And the synchronized universe model says basically that matter is not what we thought it was. They're not like little billiard balls or even little quantum points moving around, that when we say there's a particle at some place, it's a solid matter, what that really involves is an energy exchange between that charge or that particle and all the other particles in the universe. That things are moving very rapidly on a very small scale. This is a scale smaller than the size of the electron, down to more like the Planck scale, which is the basic smallest scale that physics tries to describe. At that scale, there's a synchronization that has to happen, that particles only see each other when their velocities are lined up with each other. In other words, at a very small scale, all the particles are moving very rapidly, the speed of light. So in this system, at a very small scale, and this is part of what we have special relativity, part of our current physics, at very high speeds, a particle only can kind of look in the direction that it's traveling. So if it emits a photon It has to be in the direction that it's traveling at that instant. Off in the distance would be some other particle. If they're going to interact mutually back and forth, that particle also has to have a velocity lined up with the first one. So the primary interactions at this very small scale would involve particles with velocities that are aligned at that moment of interaction. A moment later, their velocities have changed because they received an impulse from one another. And what this leads to is the only stable solution of this system is when the particles end up being synchronized with each other. The ones that interact consistently on the average over time are the ones that take on little orbits at very small scale, down to Planck level, which are synchronized. You can have many, many other systems of particles that have some other synchronization. A different frequency of oscillation or a different phase, so they're in some other part of their orbit. So they're looking in a different direction. Those particles would not, on the average, see the first set of particles. So they would be visible to us, or we might see them occasionally as quantum noise, and that may well be the origin of quantum noise. So,
are you understanding what he's saying? Y'all getting lost?
A little bit.
Anyone else? Is everybody lost, or does somebody else understand and want to take a stab at it?
Now you might need to explain that.
No, I'm very lost.
You might need to explain that, brother.
Y'all funny as hell. Y'all sitting up there. How come nobody said, "Oh, I don't understand what he just said"? Why y'all gonna let it go all the way through without understanding? See, this is why we are in the state we in today. Because we don't understand, we'll just let it go on without fucking backing up. Like, hold up, let me see. I didn't understand that. Let me back the fuck up until I understand. I cannot move past this point right here until I understand what this dude just said. Because moving on to the next point makes no sense if I don't understand this point, because I'm gonna get the next one wrong, and then the one after that, and the one after that, and the one after that. So let me stay here until I get what he just said. Nobody just got what he just said? Anybody want to take a stab at what he just said? Maybe you might understand what he just said.
It's talking about light and some type of noise, and that noise was probably already there from what I'm gathering, but I'm probably wrong because
Well, noise and light and all that's supposed to be all the same anyway. It was just vibrating on different. If that's what he's saying, I ain't even saying.
Well, I'm going to make it simple into everyday people terms. So I'm just trying to see if anyone kind of understood what he was saying. He was saying basically, in order for a particle, in order for them to be able to work in the particles that have to be two particles traveling in the same direction. And that's the way you can see the light from those particles. If there was an aggregate particles, one particle over here and one particle over here, you couldn't see them. They would kind of show up every now and then, but its vibration would be more like background, what he said, noise, right? He said, but in order for them to really consistently see the two particles, to see a particle or whatever it was, those two particles had to be traveling at the same speed, and then it would develop some sort of orbit. And that would a consistent orbit because they're both traveling around at the same speed. Does anybody understand what that means on a grander scale?
Is that just like the attraction of things? Like how things have to be on the same wavelength, you got to be on a similar.
Sort of. You're right there. Right there. Basically, what it's saying is matter. In order for matter to matter. and so to speak, you have to be. First of all, you can't be singular. You need to be grouped with other things or beings or frequencies that on your same vibration to increase and enhance that frequency. Once you do, the frequency develops a certain rhythm. That rhythm becomes harmony and then ultimately a song, right? This is how you see songs created. You start with a beat, then you put a certain sound. You start with a certain sound or a tone. You put that tone together with another tone. Them two tones sound real good together. So you say, oh, let me invite another tone in. And then boom, all these tones come together. They all start working together. You got a rhythm. Then you have a harmony. And then you have a song. Okay? If you just have singular tones, it's just background music. It's background noise. It just sounds like a tap. If I just tap on the table, tap, tap, that just sounds like a tap on the table. But if I
get where you're going with
right,
it.
If I tapped on the table, then I go boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Like jazz, when you get into jazz and it got all that different elements in it, man. It's beautiful together though, the cohesion.
Exactly. Aggregately, they may sound like background noise. You put all these things together, you have a consistent harmony, rhythm, and then a song. And that's what it's saying. Extrapolate that. You can extrapolate that to humans as well, as we're all frequency and vibration. If you're alone, you may be able to make some splashes and noise in the universe. You know what I'm saying? You may be able to do that. You may be out there and, oh, look what I did. Look what this dude did. But ultimately, in order for your matter to matter, in order for it to gain any type of prominence and type of energy and increase its vibration and frequency, you have to be with other people who are frequency or on that same frequency and vibration. Now, that's why you'll always hear me say, stop looking for people who are of your same skin tone. Because ultimately, skin tone don't fucking matter. Skin tone is just a result of vibration and frequency, which we all are in essence. So it doesn't matter what your skin tone is. It may be an amplifier for some energy, but if you don't know how to use it, it don't mean shit. That's like buying a boombox radio and not knowing where the on button is. It's just a piece of furniture that look good in your house. So again, that's what they're talking about. Understanding the frequency of coming together. All the frequencies coming together.
A system which you can think of like a stack of sheets of paper, and one sheet of paper is like our physical universe. The particles on that sheet of paper are the ones that are synchronized with each other. We call that physical reality. That's what our current physics tries to explain. That's where our laws are applicable. But you can have many, many other sheets of paper with these other parallel systems that are synchronized a little bit differently. Now, what raising the gauge and paranormal phenomena and torsion, these other forces that I've been talking about, what they do is they shift our little sheet of paper. So now we start to move down and dip down and interact with other parallel systems. And that's what happens when you can start now to, instead of being limited to a 4-dimensional reality, your dimensionality now can be 5, 6, or 7 dimensions as you interact with other parallel systems. When that happens, strange things become possible that were not possible before.
According to the Synchronized universe,
basically, when you link up with other people, you can do shit that you couldn't do by yourself. Broken down simplistically.
Model. When our own frequency synchronizes with a parallel universe or dimension, it allows us to perceive it in the form of a vision, powers of levitation, miracles, knowledge, enlightenment, and even healing. Our bodies are made of atoms and subatomic particles. 99.9% of our body weight is comprised of protons and neutrons, which are then made of hexagons of 6 quarks, each made of dual pairs. Among the quarks are the mysterious strange and anti-strange quark. They are called strange because they have the ability to randomly just disappear from the core of the atom and then strangely reappear.
What does strange mean? Why do they call it strange? Remember we talked about how when scientists name something, they name it according to its etymology. So strange doesn't mean not normal. What does strange mean? Does anybody remember from one of the word plays?
I'm trying to remember. I think it is to like not be contained, or you kind of like you
be in control or something like that, isn't it?
Uncontrollable. I think that's what it was.
No, you were right. You were right on your first one. When we were closer with your first. All
right, then I was saying is to be unchained, right? Or to be
Not be
not detained by anybody. That's why you strange, because you don't fit in anybody's box.
There you go. It means outside of the box. Right. Strange means outside of boundaries. Right. So this doesn't have what they're saying right here. It's strange. It doesn't have any boundaries. It's reappearing and it's not appearing. It doesn't stay here. So remember, strange means beyond bounds. So
Beyond bounds from elsewhere. Okay.
right. So this thing, this entity, this small universe right here can't hold it. It's literally coming in and out of this universe here. Like, hey, I'm here. No, I'm not. Hey, what's up? Bye-bye. It's going back and forth like that. So letting you know that truly matter is an illusion. See, what you see as physical matter is not even to a scientist. The particles are coming in and out of reality. Boom, boom. Hey, I'm here. No, I'm not. So, you know what I mean? When you start to say these things and you understand it and you get on this philosophy of spiritual philosophy and you say nature, this is not real. Going back to the Matrix and the little boy who gave Neo the spoon when he walked into to go see the Oracle, and the little boy is bending the spoon with his mind, and then Neo looks at him and then the boy says, "Don't try to bend the spoon. That's impossible. Instead, only try to realize the truth." And then he says, "What truth? There is no spoon." He says, and then you'll see it's not the spoon that bends, but it's yourself. Meaning you are the only one that exists. Your limitations are only within your mind. That's what the kid was telling him. So, and then when he did it, he understood, and then the spoon started to bend. Now, I don't know if you saw the other movies throughout the even in that movie, towards the end, when he was when they were getting ready to take over the building and go save Morpheus, and they were at the top, they had to go through on the elevator, and he was getting ready to drop the elevator with the bomb, and before he shot the cable and he looked up, he goes, "There is no spoon." And then he shoot like me because he was scared. He still wasn't really sure yet that this wasn't real. So he had to go back to the little boy, and the little boy says, "There is no spoon." And he shoots the cable, and then he just goes up with no problem. I use that all the time. Like whenever I'm like, I'm working out and I'm getting ready to drop one, I'm getting ready to pass out off of one, I'll go, "There is no spoon." I can get about 5 or 6 more reps out. I'll do that all the time when it seems like I'm just about to give up on some shit. I'll do that. So basically, this was the experiment that was showing reality, or what you think of as reality, is not real. It's an illusion.
Okay.
Based off your consciousness.
One thing I was gonna say is I was thinking about what you're saying, talking about as far as like it's not about skin tone or anything like that, right? When you're dealing with people, but I guess this is my experience because I actually live with a lot of these people, these Caucasian people, and what I come sometimes to realize is that I feel like a lot of them think that they are, superior. So it's kind of hard to get on somebody on level where you got people that sometimes think that they are superior, and that's why even the ones that are quote unquote liberal, they do things because they think they're superior, because they'll go, "Well, I need to help you out because I'm in a better position and all that," and not I've talked to a bunch of different ones, and it was like the ones who might do negative things because that they superior, and I had ones who was doing positive things because they feel obligated to do it because they like, "Well, I'm in a better position," and
whatever,
it's like,
nigga, get it done. And I'm gonna tell you, nigga, if you doing it because you feel guilty, nigga, great, get it done, nigga.
Yeah, I'm just saying that it's kind of hard. I feel like it'd be kind of hard to sometimes deal. I ain't saying you can't do all of them, but I think it'd be kind of hard to deal with a lot of people that's got this idea that they're superior to a certain extent.
It is and it ain't. It's only hard in your mind. Man, I did. Trust me. My whole fitness business was dealing with Caucasian people. I didn't really train black people. I don't deal with niggas, and I mean niggas, because niggas be on some other shit. Niggas be on some on some straight bullshit. How much you charge for training? Oh man, nigga, what you say? Oh damn, dude, damn, that's nigga. What? Oh man, oh my nigga, can I? Man, what? Like, what you say, nigga? So again, I deal with Caucasian people on another level. They don't know I'm on this spiritual shit. They don't know this at all. They just know I'm a super smart motherfucker. They be like, man, you really smart. Now, again, I don't show them I'm all on this conscious stuff. However, I do show them that you're not smarter than me. I let them know that immediately. You ain't smarter than me, motherfucker. And I'm gonna let you know immediately. I'll bust you out with some history that you thought was real about your own shit. And then, oh, really? I didn't know that. Wow. And they'll say some shit like that. Like, yeah, motherfucker, there's a whole lot of shit you don't know. And I'll start dropping them. I'll start hitting them with shit. But again, they're misinformed too. So you don't want to shoot, you know what I'm saying? You don't want to do away with all of your, you know what I'm saying, with all of your opportunities because of the ego and because of your pride. If you know you God, express your godness. And they have nothing to do but to fall in line. You don't have to be belligerent about it and throw it all up in their face and be like, yeah, I'm God. But just express the fact that you God. I know who I am. I'm knowledgeable. I know who you are. I'm knowledgeable on that. I'm knowledgeable on history. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? You just express that who you are.
I found that out, Kev. You're right that a lot of them really don't know what happened,
they
man.
Don't know shit.
They don't
know shit. You're right though. They are on some white privilege shit. But then once you come in and bust them in the ass with your information, your knowledge, that lowers the shit. Not only does it lower, they be like, man. They start to see you. Trust me, when Caucasian people see you as being really knowledgeable, that's when they really jump on your shit and be want to fuck with you. They be like, oh man, they start introducing you. Man, he's so smart. Oh my god, he knows so much. He's like a fucking encyclopedia.
True.
Huh? What'd you say? Somebody said something? Hello? Somebody
that was true fact.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so yeah, you just gotta know. You just gotta know. Don't throw your ego and pride into it. Again, they've been misinformed. So whatever the hell their programming is, whatever that is, whatever it is. However, there are conscious Caucasian people out there who know. They don't be on that shit. Like there's a girl who works at the radio station. Works at the Dash radio station. She's getting a show. So she was sitting on Zoe's show a couple of weeks ago. Her and this model named Vita Guerrera or something like that. She's supposed to be famous, and they're getting a show. And so they were in there and they were talking and breaking down some stuff. And so one girl, Vita Guerrera, she's Mexican, and then the other girl's Jewish. And so the Jewish girl tells me, she said, yeah, melanin is vibranium. I said, what? she said, yeah, melanin is vibranium. She's like, yeah. She's like, I thought that was like, everybody knew that. That was common to everybody. Yeah, melanin is vibranium. She said, yeah, black people are gods. I said, what? She just started breaking that whole shit down about the history and how black people's God and melanin is this. And she did melanin research and she know melanin can transfer energy and she knew all this shit. She just said it right there. I said, what? And no Caucasian person ever told me before that, and especially using it in that terms. I know they know, but nobody had ever said it like that. I was like, you heard Zoe say that, huh? You be up here. I said, you heard Zoe say that. She's like, no. She's like, I never. She's like, I just met Zoe a couple weeks ago. She's like, nah. She's like, I do the research. I know. She's like, melanin is vibranium. She's like, shit. He's like, black people are gods. I was like, oh, she kept saying it. I was like, all right. So it just depends on who you may be talking to. That's all that is. Gang of them out here who know and who are out here working for you. Like there, I said before, there's two Illuminati. There's a good Illuminati and there's a bad Illuminati. Now I want to get into this symbolism of this while we're doing this, but this
do you mean a positive and a negative?
Huh?
I would say, do you mean a positive and a negative?
Positive and negative, good, bad, whatever you want to solve.
How about the word?
The bad. Oh yeah, bad.
Yeah.
They may be doing that too. The bad ones are doing that shit too. They pedophiles. That's what I meant. That's exactly what I meant. Them niggas got their little pedophile ring going on. But yeah, there's the agreeables and the disagreeable Illuminati. And the agreeable ones are out there doing the movies, which we're going to try to get into the symbolism in a minute, trying to tell you what's going on. And the disagreeable ones out there trying to keep it all away from you. So let's see if we can get a little bit. I want to see a couple of more experiments. We'll get into the rest of this probably next week so I can show you the symbolism stuff.
There's no mathematical model to quantify the timing of when and why they will do this. Is there randomly or hexagons of 6 knowledge, enlightenment, and even healing? Our bodies are made of atoms and subatomic particles. 99.9% of our body weight is comprised of protons and neutrons, which are then made of hexagons of 6 quarks, each made of dual pairs. Among the quarks are the mysterious strange and anti-strange quark. They are called strange because they have the ability to randomly just disappear from the core of the atom and then strangely reappear. There is no mathematical model to quantify the timing of when and why they will do this. Is there a connection to the behavior of the strange quark in human consciousness? Knowing that we are also made of a significant percentage of strange quarks, that portion of us is dematerializing and rematerializing at random all of the time. No one has been able to determine where the strange quarks travel to, other than the fact that they disappear into other dimensions and reappear. Do they travel to other dimensions to gain information or to communicate at a distance? This behavior demonstrates that part of our consciousness does travel into other dimensions. Can this help explain communication at a distance and mental telepathy? In the 1970s, President Carter, the CIA, and the Air Force used 2 psychics trained in remote viewing to locate a lost Russian Tu-22 bomber, which no other forces could find. The remote viewers gave blind latitude-longitude coordinates that led Air Force officials to point their satellite cameras deep into the jungles of Africa, precisely where the Russian Tu-22 had crashed.
The significance of the case where Carter talks about how remote viewers were used to find the missing bomber that had gone down in the jungle shows that remote viewing can be very accurate and can be useful. Now his comments about the case were a little bit of an oversimplification. There was more than one remote viewer actually involved. They do it several times to check one another. But the fact is that remote viewing, number one, can be very accurate, and number two, was really used for important cases over an extended period of time. And even though they claim that it's finished and there's no more remote viewing going on, that's what they said before they admitted that this program was there too. So you can make your own conclusions about that. The point is that consciousness really can be used to give us information that might otherwise be unobtainable.
Later, in 1979, Congressman Charles Rose, then chairman of the House Subcommittee on Intelligence Evaluation, reviewed the U.S. government's secret psychic spy program. He then warned that if the Russians had this ability and we didn't pursue it further, we would be in serious trouble.
Well, there's certainly plenty of evidence that the out-of-body programs were going on, the remote viewing programs were going on. What has been made public is the 20-year remote viewing program that was started by the CIA in the 70s that physicist Hal Puthoff and a couple other people started. And they found out from their early experiments they could go into laboratories in Russia. One of the first laboratories was at Semipalatinsk, which the CIA at that time had been unable to look into. It's all building, large structures, a lot of activity, but they could not tell what it was being used for. And so one of the first successes that started the program was when a man named Pat Price remote viewed the inside of the facility. He saw overhead cranes. He saw overhead cranes moving along overhead outside of the building. They had railroad tracks on each side of the building. He saw these huge steel spheres that were being cut with special types of welding techniques. They were foot-thick steel sections of spheres. We have no way of, at that time, of welding such large structures, but they developed a technique to do so. And by using his remote viewing ability, he figured out that these were going to become large underground spheres to capture the energy from explosions and then use that energy to make a beam weapon. This was part of the Russian beam weapon program. And of course, in the 80s, Ronald Reagan started the Star Wars program in an effort to counteract some of this technology. But the first inkling we had that the Russians were involved in this was Pat Price's remote viewing back in 1974, 75.
While the United States nuclear weapons program, Peak in Evolution, was a 15 megaton nuclear bomb, the Russians were far superior, testing a 50 megaton hydrogen bomb on October 30th, 1961. Was Russian psychic espionage into the United States secret weapons program instrumental in allowing them to gain the advantage? Today, with the Cold War at its end, Russian psychic research is used for mostly peaceful means. Konstantin Korotkov is a professor of physics at St. Petersburg Tech University in Russia. He's the inventor of the world's first camera that can see deep into the human aura's energy field and information band. It is called the GDV. The computer software reads the data the GDV provides on an individual's auric field. It can see breaks in the energy field, early signs of damage to organs, and changes in the field due to higher states of consciousness, the amplitude of energy coming out of all 7 energy centers, how well the 7 energy centers communicate with each other, and even mental telepathy and healing.
So this computer can see all of that energy coming out of your body. So it's not just some bullshit mythology. He's developed some technology that can see all of these energetic states, all these energetic state changes within the body and what it can do.
Really very interesting time because we were able to organize a research laboratory, a research center outside of the city in some remote place. We took a house. In this house, we put all possible equipment that we were able to think of by the time. And we've been selecting and inviting people who was really talented clairvoyants and talented psychic people. And then we trained them how to operate with each other, how to deal with telepathic communications, and we've been measuring all this process. So it was many sessions like this, several years. It was very interesting results, and everything we published secret reports on this, of course. It never been published in any journal, but we have proven that telepathic communication with people is really possible. And it was done on very precise scientific basis. But our approach was different from approach of Russell Tark or some other researchers in the world. First step was to select specific people, to find out people who can do something and who communicate with each other. And I am absolutely sure that really effective communication comes between people who are really attuned to each other, who have this very, very special entanglement to each other. It may be men, women, it may be men, it may be women, it doesn't matter. It's not gender difference. It is a topic of, I would say, spiritual interconnections. And if they have it, then they may be trained how to interact with each other. So from our point of view, when we've done these experiments, and we are doing these experiments up till now, it is very important to select people, to train them and attune to each other. Then it's maybe effective communication.
To do what? Train them to do what?
Connect with each other.
That ain't the word he used. What word did he use? See, y'all ain't listening. What did he just use? Right there at the end of that sentence. Let's go back.
Very important to set down these experiments, and we are doing these experiments up till now. It is very important to select people, to train them and attune to each other. Then it's maybe effective communication.
He said attune to each other.
Uh-huh. So he was saying that people who experienced a greater connection were people, or people who communicated better were people who had a better connection. Basically, all that means is people who are on the same vibration or frequency. Yes, he said had a spiritual connection. He's a scientist, so he's not going, he's not going to say it the same way. He's going to he's going to say some type of spiritual connection or tone. But what he's basically saying is, it's just they were on the same frequency. People who kind of vibrate near the same frequency have a better chance of communicating like that telepathically than people who don't.
Do we receive messages from others without even knowing it?
This was a study to show is it possible to send and quantify, measure energy of healing, loving energy, sending. So if we send loving energy to another being who is not directly in front of you, but in another space, will they receive it? And if they receive it, how does it show? Wow, that was the purpose, and this was done with a team of researchers in Slovenia. So here we see that you've got the person who is sending energy. This is the right side, is sending of energy, and on this side is the receiving of energy. So from the right side, when you talk about, because the emotional heart is on the right, it is sending. So there is a little burst, and of course these bursts are captured.
And it's separate from the body. It's leaving, this burst is leaving the body.
Indeed.
Oh, that's amazing.
And the receiver is receiving it.
Do you see that?
Wow.
Do y'all see that shit?
Yeah.
But do y'all understand what the fuck is going on? Like, I know you see it, but do you understand what is going on right now? What is that saying right now? What did he just say?
They're basically sending and receiving information.
Yes. But what though? But how? But what's the, like? Somebody give me the significance of what's going on right now.
It's stronger on the one side, what you can see. The signal.
That's not the significance of what's going on right now. What's the significance of this? What he's saying right now? Somebody give it to me. This motherfucker is saying we didn't experiment. Huh?
He's demonstrating telepathy.
Yes. Scientifically, he's physically showing you. So telepathy has all been some philosophical bullshit from up until now. Now this motherfucker has a physical representation. This is not a drawing. This is a computer image of two people, of their energy fields. This is one person and another person completely in a different place, not even in the same town. This nigga's somewhere else. This person was in there, whatever their little chamber. This person sent an energy thought, a loving, healing thought to this person who was completely somewhere else. This is not drawings of these two niggas, just so y'all know. This is literally their energy field representation of in the computer. This is what happened. When he sent the energy field, when he sent the love vibration, this beam, this is a physical being, shot out from him, from his heart chakra, went to this dude. And this dude, as you see it right here, he's receiving it. This is a actual beam of energy that they've quantified, that they've said, look, we see it. It's shooting from this nigga's body and going into him, and he ain't even here.
So all those years when your mom was praying for you, this is what would happen.
Yes. Yes. Anybody who's sending you beautiful thoughts and wonderful wishes and all of that shit, you receive all of that. Just like that, though. That energy shoots right from their heart chakra right out to you. You get it. Physically, tangibly, nigga, this motherfucker showing you. Y'all probably thought this was some drawing or some shit. This is a computer generated image of two actual people when they were taking the test and what their both of their auras were doing. One nigga shot the energy bolt out, the love bolt. This dude received it. That's amazing. I don't even understand how amazing. We know that we consciously it's like, oh yeah, we know we can do that. But now you physically see a beam of energy flying out from it like a missile. It's a missile.
It knows exactly where it's going.
And it knows where it's going. It ain't shooting up here, it ain't shooting down there. It is shooting right from his heart chakra right there, going right to him. Or whoever the hell it is, here or her, whatever.
I think that's why we're kind of we already knew all this anyway. It's just now they're scientifically saying like, hey.
Yeah, we knew it, but I don't think if you knew it, you'd be doing it on an everyday basis. It was some stuff that you probably thought was all whatever. This type of stuff that you learning right now and what your body can do, there should be nothing else that niggas should be on in the world, as far as I'm concerned. When you learn what your melanin can do scientifically and you don't know how to use it, you should be on that. When you learn what your mind can do scientifically and spiritually, and you don't know how to use it, you should be on that. When you learn what your energetic field, the connection from person to person, or your connection to all things, what your connection to all things can allow you to do, scientifically, physically. When you learn that and you don't fuck around with it, you on some bullshit. Y'all should be out there experimenting, doing all this shit. We did all this shit. We did all this shit like years ago. We like when we hooked up with Zoe, we used to do experiments where we would send a dude across the street, and we would all be in the room at the school. We were doing class, and then everybody in the class would think a word and send the word to the person across the street. And then the person across the street would come back in, and then we'd be like, all right, what was we thinking? And he would know, or he or she would know. So we've done this stuff. We know this shit can happen, but to have it tangibly and physically see that shit is incredible. This is what they're teaching in Masonry and Rosicrucianism and all that. I have a Rosicrucian lesson sitting right here. It's called the Rosicrucian lessons are called monographs. This is a Rosicrucian monograph. This is one of their lessons. If you can, see that. This is one of the monographs of the Rosicrucian monograph, right? So this is number 12 or whatever. In this, it has experiments like, let me see, where's one of them? Dream projecting. How to project in someone else's dream. how to get in somebody else's thought. I mean, and it's not just they don't talk about it. They give you a step-by-step experiment. Like experiment number 12, mental projection. We will now use a simple example to illustrate what we have just considered. Let us suppose, and see, they're teaching you how to do this shit. So we don't have nothing like this. We don't got shit like this. But we're learning how to do this stuff. And thinking we did. Learning how to really turn your melanin on and connect to it. Man, we doing some other shit. But most people don't have that. The melanin book that I've been giving out to you guys. If you don't have it, you should get it, because that literally I had it for like 15 years and never gave it to anybody. Never showed it to anybody. So nobody has this book. Only the scientists have, because it's too many pages to be a book. If you actually printed out the actual book, it's like 1,500 pages. So no one actually has it as a book. Most of the scientists probably have it on file, or you can go to that website and look it up. But it's not coherent. It's not put in a complete coherent way for you. So if you guys don't have that book, that's the instructions to your vibranium suit. You guys need to be on that shit. Or if you don't get it from me, go to the website, but you should be on it. Seriously, get on that shit. All right, so that's that's what I want to show y'all today. We'll get into the deeper experiments, but I really wanted to get to that part to show y'all what they found in an actual physical electric experiment. They sent one dude.
It's ND, baby.